Here with Dayan from Shuffle Digital. First question: SEO. PBN's dead.
I think they're just being born.
Yeah.
I think they're just being born. So, look, the old era, I think, of the way PBNs used to be, you couldn't really. I guess you could say that comparing a PBN to a main site back then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You could see night and day difference. You just could clearly see it was not a legitimate site. But now, you're not going to be able to really tell the difference between one that's built well.
Okay.
Right? So everything is going to check every single box a link builder might check.
Yep.
PBN's 2026, they've got it all covered.
Amazing. And for a big brand, let's say for something like the Gyms Group, we had Joel in today.
Yep.
Would you recommend a PBN strategy, an expired domain strategy for enterprise companies and small businesses?
Well, here's the thing, right? They might not know it, but they might already be getting links on these PBNs. Okay. I dare say, go through the link profile of some of these larger sites. You might even see some of these links on these farms or etc. Thing is, they're so well disguised now that you're not even going to know you're getting a link on one. So here's the thing, right? It's not about whether a link's right, if PBN link's right or wrong. It's more than just can you make it look like a legitimate site to blend in with the rest? If the answer is yes, then who's to tell the difference?
And how are you tracking the success of, if you think about guys like Matt Diggity, Charles Flo, they're often talking about single variable testing.
Yep.
And actually testing on another person's site that might be in the bottom of a page and actually firing it there and seeing a movement. How are you actually testing the effectiveness of a PBN?
So the historical way to test your PBN, right, you could do a single variable test where you could create a fake keyword, right, and let both those fake keywords, they're ranking 1 or 2 because there's not going to be any other content for it, assuming we're getting it indexed. Then at one point, what we do is we just do a simple test. We'll get one site will get a link from the PBN, one site won't. And if the site moves up and it's the higher rank from the PBN, well, we know the PBN has some sort of level of legitimacy.
Yep.
So ultimately, you do want to sometimes do these tests, but obviously doing it with a fake keyword, it's sometimes not going to be enough to move a brand. Yep. So the only real way to test it is you have to sometimes go a bit more, something that's a bit more competitive, something that's going to be a bit more tricky to rank for. So you want to see movement with a trickier to rank for keyword.
Got it. That makes sense. And obviously at the moment, you can basically buy an expired domain. You can go to Claude Code and you can get Claude Code to basically rebuild the entire site, location pages.
Yep.
Obviously through, through Cloudflare.
Yep.
You can even attach, if you've got a WordPress website, you can attach a bunch of other pages through Cloudflare. Do you think that obviously with the combination of AI content plus all these websites potentially being hosted by Cloudflare, how does that affect, do you think that may affect rankings?
Yeah, 100%. So I think what you're talking about, the site's hosted on Cloudflare itself, because Cloudflare has this thing called Cloudflare Pages, and a lot of sites have been doing this because obviously little shortcut is doesn't cost anything. But, it allows, vendors to sort of scale up their sort of expired domain network. Now, copying the site is a funny game because there is sometimes trademarks, there is sometimes legality, so I wouldn't be recommending copying the site. I'd be recommending complete revamp. I would try and stay in the same industry assuming there's no trademark, right? But to redesign it, to redevelop it, there's nothing stopping you from doing that. Would I be putting it on Cloudflare? I mean, I'd be changing it up. I think if you start building a footprint on everything you're doing, or if you, let's say,
you were talking about Cloudflare having proxies. So if it's proxied, how would you know?
Well, this is the thing, right? You wouldn't necessarily know. If you set it to DNS only, you would, and sometimes you might want to, because to really throw a spanner in the works, right? Some might be DNS to here. You would be using a different Cloudflare account as well. So the thing is, if you're using the same Cloudflare account all the time, all your name servers are going to be the same. So one of the reasons why you wouldn't is because your name servers are going to be a giveaway.
Yeah, got you. So SEO is dead or it's not?
I think SEO, it's not dead, but it's getting more sophisticated, and I think what you're going to see is the more sophisticated operators. I think it's going to consolidate. I think you're going to see the bottom end trickle out of the industry. I think the higher end of the industry are going to be able to take more spots. So I don't think it's dead, but I think if you're deeply in the weeds and you have highly knowledgeable, I think you're going to have the best success ever. So the question is, depends who you are.
Depends who you are. You got it first.